Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Surviving Narcissism Together. In today's video, we're going to talk about when the narcissistic mother can't handle your success. So, have you ever noticed that the moment you start doing well in your life, or you get the promotion, you graduate, you start making your own money, you become independent, you become confident, your mother suddenly becomes cold, critical, dismissive, or even angry. So you may often find yourself thinking, why can't my own mother just be happy for me? Well, if you've experienced this, you're not alone. And in this video, we're going to talk about the different ways a narcissistic mother may react to your success and why your success can sometimes trigger her. So the first one is that she minimizes your accomplishment. So let's say you tell her, Mom, I got the job. And instead of saying, Congratulations, I'm so proud of you, she might say, don't get too excited. It's just a job. Or anyone could have gotten that. And it can feel incredibly confusing. When she repeatedly minimizes your achievements, you can start questioning yourself and thinking maybe it really isn't that impressive. Maybe I'm making too much out of it. Maybe I shouldn't be proud. But you don't need someone else's jealousy or inability to celebrate you to determine the value of your achievement. Your success is still your success. Another point is that she tends to move the goalposts. What I mean by that is, instead of celebrating something that you achieved, she immediately focuses on what you haven't accomplished yet. So let's say you graduate, she'd say, well, you need to get a job. Let's say you got a better job. She might say, yeah, but you're still not making enough money. Let's say you got promoted. She might say, yeah, but your cousin across the state is already a manager. So you eventually realize there is no finish line, and you could accomplish 10 things and she'd focus on the 11th thing you haven't done yet. The approval is conditional. You can't spend your entire life chasing something that may never come. Another point is that she competes with you. This is where things can become particularly uncomfortable. Your achievements are almost like it creates a need for her to prove that she is still better, more important, or more accomplished. And it's a painful realization because you're not trying to compete with your mom. She's the one turning your achievement into a competition. Another point, and I think it's a very common point, is that she takes credit for your success. So another reaction could be, well, I taught you everything you know, or you wouldn't be here without me. Now, obviously, parents can genuinely contribute to their children's success. I'm not saying no. But there's a difference between being proud of your contribution and claiming ownership of your child's identity and achievements. A narcissistic parent may want your success to reflect positively on them because they care all about face value. Your degree becomes proof that they were great parents. Your career becomes something that they could brag and boast about. Your accomplishments it becomes part of their image. But the moment your success becomes something that gives you, the victim, independence, confidence, and power, the dynamic changes. Because now you're no longer just making them look good, but you're becoming your own person. And that ability to individualize yourself is what narcissists fear. It becomes threatening in a relationship that's built around control. And sadly, what this leads to is that the narcissistic mother can become more controlling when you become more independent. So, this is a very harsh, sad reality, but it's extremely important to be aware of. Sometimes the problem isn't the achievement itself, it's what the achievement represents. So your success means you may have more choices, more money, more confidence, freedom, opportunities. Maybe you don't need her approval anymore. Maybe you could finally move out, travel, all these things. But if your relationship has been built around control, which it usually is, your independence can now feel like a threat to their control. So suddenly there are more questions, it's more criticism, more guilt, more attempts to make you feel selfish. Because becoming independent isn't about abandoning your mother. You're allowed to become an adult, but that's what they fear. Narcissistic parents never really teach you the skills, the key skills that would help you become adapt and adept to handle the world. They want you to constantly be under their wing because they want to control you like puppets. So they never teach you ways in which to become independent. So when you finally are independent, it becomes a threat. And what finally happens is that, narcissistic mothers in particular, they may celebrate you publicly but undermine you privately. And I think it's very confusing. In front of other people, she may brag about, my daughter is so successful, she has such a good job, she graduated with this degree. But then, everyone thinks, wow, her mother is so proud and her mother is so supportive. But behind closed doors, the story could be completely different, filled with criticism and insults and belittling and guilt and coldness, or constant reminders that you're still not good enough. And why? Why is this? Because your success can serve a public image while simultaneously triggering insecurity, jealousy, or a fear of losing control privately. And this creates a very confusing reality for the daughter. Here's what I want you to remember. If your mother doesn't celebrate you the way you hoped she would, that doesn't mean your accomplishment isn't worth celebrating. If she minimizes you, you don't have to minimize yourself. If she criticizes you, you don't have to become smaller. And if she compares you, you do not have to compete. You spent years trying to understand what you needed to do to finally earn that approval. Maybe you thought, if I get good grades, she'll be proud. If I get the job, she'll be proud. If I become more successful, she'll see my worth. But eventually, you may have to accept this painful truth. Your mother's inability to celebrate you may have nothing to do with the value of what you accomplished. You don't have to stop succeeding just because someone else is uncomfortable with your growth. And most importantly, guys, you don't have to remain small just to preserve someone else's sense of superiority. So, guys, if this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments. How did your mother react when you started becoming successful or independent? And if you're on a journey of healing from narcissistic family dynamics, subscribe to this channel, Surviving Narcissism Together, for more videos about understanding narcissistic mothers, fathers, siblings, healing your self-worth, setting boundaries, and breaking that toxic cycle. You are not wrong for wanting to shine, and you don't have to make yourself smaller to keep someone else comfortable, especially not a narcissist. So guys, I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.